Welcome back to the Smylie Show. We've got an eventful one today. We've got a lot to bring to you. Of course, recapping what was quite a thrilling finish at the Farmers after it was looking like it might be a dull one there for a moment. We've got your conversation with Dylan DeChair about the bombshell Anthony Kim report of sorts that kind of captured the imagination of the golf internet there when that news dropped last week. And I'm currently in transit to Pebble Beach for our big plans this next week at the AT&T. So lots to get to. But yeah, let's start right at the top with Matthieu Pavon's win at the Farmers Insurance Open. I'll start by saying there are a lot of French-related stats flying around on Matthieu. People are disagreeing about, what the significance of the win is for France. Let's just say that French people don't often win on the PGA Tour. So whatever the stat is, this was very, very good for the nation of France and Matthieu Pavon, of course. And then also, you passed this tweet on, and it's kind of wild to look at the PGA Tour thus far. Is just reading you the pre-tournament odds to win for our four winners this year. We've had Chris Kirk at 200-1, Grayson Murray at 400-1, Nick Dunlap at 300-1, and Matthieu Pavon at 125-1. So before we kind of dig into the tournament, Smylie, I just wonder, how you reflect on this win in the context of the entire season thus far. Because in some senses, you could say coming into the season, it'd be really nice for the PGA Tour to have a lot of stars win and just showcase the overall strength of the product. But by the same token, we've had some kind of cool, unique stories, that have captured the imagination of a lot of, current fans and potential new fans. I mean, Nick Dunlap, you look no further than that. He was, that final round outrated John Rahm's win the year before. So what's your take on just the way the season is broken out thus far for the tour?
Yeah, I mean, you said it. Some long shots. Chris Kirk 200-1, Grayson Murray 400-1, Nick Dunlap 300-1. And Tyron Matthieu Honey Badger Pavon at 125-1. By the way, he is now the Honey Badger for forever. The way he spells Matthieu with basically the exact same way that Tyron Matthew's last name is. So
I don't know how I didn't see the LSU tie-in coming there, but that was so obvious. Should have seen that coming a mile away.
The Honey Badger gets it done. Can you imagine if Jim Nantz would have hit us with, and the Honey Badger gets it done at the Farmers?
Would have been great branding. I mean, it was a Honey Badger-esque performance there on the 18th hole, so he's certainly earned it.
Yeah, no, listen, we kind of talked about this even after Chris won. We kind of were thinking that the tour had to have the stars win, but I could argue that I was more interested in all of these other ones besides. I would say I wasn't necessarily locked into this leaderboard as I would have been if somebody else, if Max would have found his way up there, which he kind of did early in the day. Mm-hmm. But I think the Pebble Beach will be a fairly nice benchmark. Even though we had signature events last year, this is a new signature event where the Pebble Beach field used to always be very weak with a couple littered stars here throughout. Where you've had stars win there. You've also had other players that, redefine their careers winning at Pebble Beach. But the Farmers is an odd place to see someone not expected to win. It's normally a place where you have certain players play it very well, but you just have to have so much control of your game, especially tee to green. And from what I watched on the greens as well, it's not easy to make putts out there, watching the balls bounce around everywhere. And for those of you that have putted on Poana Green, especially late in the afternoon, it sucks. There's no way around it. The greens are terrible and there's nothing you could do about it. And I always hated putting it in San Diego in the afternoons. I hated putting at Riviera in the afternoons. Because you could see it all, and you're just like, what am I supposed to do? And but that's kind of the
I gotta give a shout out there to friend of the pod, James Nitties. I don't want to interrupt you there, but I saw a tweet from him that I thought was so perfect in summing that up, where he tweeted, "Social media all over players for missing putts on these greens. Imagine trying to put on a surface that someone tried to put out a fire on with a bike chain."
Old Nitties texted me at the end of the day yesterday as they were winding down. He said, "How about your boy Jake Knapp?" And
dude,
yeah, I thought he was going to kind of sneak in there for a second, but I was rooting for Steven Yeager. He's he's always been a friend of mine. And then the storyline late with Keith Mitchell getting into Pebble Beach, him heading to birdie, just like, oh, that's cool. We should get to root for your friends. And if they have success, you have also get to have a chance to have some more success. So I was rooting for that storyline as well.
Yeah, it was so funny how, I was flying yesterday and I flipped this on. I was flying from Durham to Charlotte, and on the front end of that flight, I'm like, man, this is going to be kind of a dull finish. It's, it is what it is. You can't script up intrigue or drama at every single tournament. It looked like, it was just going to, end with a Pavon win, maybe by a couple of shots. And then when we landed in Charlotte, like everything happened at the same time. Jake Knapp in contention, which, as a guy that you picked as a rookie who could do well this year, and 17, 18 was just so wild because off the tee, you're thinking, oh, this is over. Højgaard was in the rough just above that right fairway bunker. Pavon's in the middle of the fairway. Jaeger pulls his OB left, has to re-tee. And then even from those second shots, Højgaard and Pavon are probably in very similar positions on that green. Højgaard 2 putts, and then Jaeger kind of misses that shorty for par, makes a bogey, and brings everyone back into it. And you're thinking, okay, like now we got ourselves a tournament. And then on 18T, Højgaard in the fairway, Jaeger in the fairway, Pavon hits it in the fairway bunker left. And then, the scenario you noted, okay, now Jaeger, if he makes a birdie here, he brings Keith back into play for Pebble Beach. So I'm just like, oh my goodness, it's all happening at the exact same time. But I mean, just that shot, those 2 back-to-back shots on 18, I'd love to hear your thoughts about Pavon's psyche and everything, because I believe it was Trevor Immelman, who we just had on the show, who noted that the recovery shot that Pavon hits out of the trap there, he's like, man, I wonder if he rushed that a little bit. Didn't take enough time. He pulls that shot, which should be an easy pitch out to give himself a third approach shot. He hits it quickly and he hits it in the rough left. And then you're looking at, not knowing what, I think he had like 155 yards, 160-ish yards in, but he's got to cover the water, and you're trying to set yourself up so you can make a birdie. So you're assuming that Højgaard's going to make a birdie, and just sticks it, that third shot from the rough, and tough to hit out of that rough at Torrey Pines. Just that whole sequence of Pavon, like, your reflections on how he played that hole.
Yeah, the lip looked to be like a problem if you thinned it, but it is difficult to even hit the fairway there. You kind of have to hold the face off on a shot like that, where you almost kind of chicken wing it a little bit. But if you are going to try to cast it a little bit to add some loft on a shot like that, well, what's going to happen? And Trevor described it great. Having your foot up outside the bunker there, that face is just going to pass and go left, which I thought he was going to play more of like a knife, like chicken wing type shot, which that brings in the thin shot a little bit, because you can easily hit the face when you do that. So I don't know if I didn't really get to watch his cadences on how fast or slow he did play that shot, but I'm always here for a hot take that, hey, he's playing too quick and he's losing it a little bit. So, and based on the lie and how far he had, I was thinking that if he mishit it at all, I just felt like short was in play, and I felt like left was in play too. And for him to hit it in that little bowl was pretty impressive. And then there was some other storylines there, like kind of noted the Jaeger, but also Nicolai Højgaard. Nicolai, whatever how you pronounce it. Listen, this guy's great to, that he's on the PGA Tour. I don't know if he has any thoughts about going to Live Golf Tour, but going into the week, man, he was 51st in the world. OWGR hasn't updated yet. I guess this is like a Sunday update because it finished on a Saturday. But you have to imagine second place at that event, he probably jumps closer to high 30s, low 40s, which gets him into the Masters. And listen, his last starts, I'm just sitting here looking at it. The week that Max Homa won, he finished second. DP World Tour Championship, finished first. Dubai Invitational, 25th. Desert Classic, 7th. And then a second now at San Diego. We saw what he did. Kind of like low key, we saw what he did at the Ryder Cup. Like, we knew he was like a very good player, but we didn't necessarily see, him be like the kind of the talk of the European players. We kind of more heard from the young stars like Ludwig Gobert. Like that was more of the storylines because he was playing with Victor Hovland. They were dominating, but he kind of just cruised his way through, like didn't necessarily do anything wrong at the Ryder Cup, but like he's continued to build off of, the experiences of playing it in a Ryder Cup, and is kind of parlayed this into a very nice fall and into a hot start this winter and heading into the spring.
Yeah, I think if we reflect back on that Ryder Cup process and the lead up and getting a captain's pick from Luke Donald, that there was a lot of attention paid to the fact that, Ludwig got a pick. He won the Omega European Masters, so it was a little more justified, but there was a lot of attention on that, when in reality, the riskier pick there was definitely taking Nicolai Højgaard, over an Adrian Meronk or somebody comparable, especially because I believe at the time it was his brother Rasmus who was in better form, who had just won a tournament on the DP World Tour. And it's like, did they even take the right Højgaard? And kind of to your point, very, very solid at the Ryder Cup, and it didn't light the world on fire, but obviously, his side wins and he picks up some experience, and then his run of finishes since then have been really good. I thought it was a really interesting sliding doors moment. They noted this on the broadcast yesterday, but Rasmus was slated to get his PGA Tour card through that top 10 DP World Tour category last year. And then that final tournament, Pavon birdies his final 4 holes to jump into that category and knock Rasmus out. And then here, Nicolai and Matthieu are playing in the final group on the PGA Tour a couple months later, which was,
I hope you start referring to Matthieu as the Honey Badger. Can we just start talking about Tyrann Mathieu? Like we need to somehow have a Tyrann Mathieu in there. Tyrann
Matthieu Pavon. I love it. It'll be great.
It's like a double name.
It'll be great if people show up to this podcast and be like, who the heck are they talking about, the Honey Badger? Like, obviously the only French winner on the PGA Tour. Like, catch up here, guys. Like, who else could it be? You talked a little bit about Jake Knapp, and I wanted to read another, James Nitty's tweet, because I know you all talked about him on that pod as well. Just last year, one of the longest hitters on the Korn Ferry Tour, averaging like 325 yards, set a Korn Ferry Tour record, making 14 straight cuts. And shows up in a big way this week, got to 11 under, which we were thinking maybe could get him into a playoff, depending on how the last hole broke out. And of course, Pavon finishes at 13, Højgaard at 12. So he got a T3 there. But, what did you see from Jake this week, that kind of aligns with what you were thinking heading into the season, of like, this guy could have, and barely missed Pebble Beach. I think he was 6th on that swing 5 category. So like, he didn't get in here, but like he could be.
He's close.
He's coming. Yeah.
I honestly, they didn't show him a ton, so I didn't really get to watch him like play. I just kind of followed it on online, but he's frustrating to watch because he hit like 190 ball speed. I don't know if this was last week or this week. Probably not this week, but it's 190 ball speed, and when you watch his golf swing, it just doesn't look like he's swinging that hard. It's like, where is the power coming from? I was thinking in my head, is like, how can I make it look this smooth but also hit 190? So he must just be strong as an ox, or have the right setting with everything, with all that he does. But definitely a player that I think will play better on the PGA Tour than he did on the Korn Ferry Tour, which I think is a good sign to see that he was a cut maker on the Korn Ferry, a guy with a lot of speed. Also, you would think he would be more of a hot and cold player on golf courses that are easier and shootouts. So we know he can make birdies. We know he can hang around and make cuts. And now he's playing on golf courses that should suit his game better. So there are certain players that come out that you're like, okay, like Chris Gotterup, Jake Knapp are 2 guys that come to mind that are just long players. It's like, just get them to the tour, and they're going to be on tougher golf courses that play, more towards a higher skill of a ball striker and guys that can really move it. So good start for Jake. This is kind of a horse for a course for him. I'm not surprised to see him play well.
The few shots I saw him hit on the broadcast yesterday, he reminded me kind of like a tourified version of Kyle Berkshire, like high finish, just like launching the ball crazy.
He looks so smooth to me. I don't see that.
Well, like a dial down. Like if you're like, take Kyle Berkshire, send him to the lab, smooth him out, make him, not do long drive stuff, but have like that similar kind of like high finish and like insane ball speed and flight and everything. I don't know. I could be way off, but that was one I was like, I don't know.
I don't know.
You don't like because he rejecting that one
because Berkshire's stuff looks just so like
violent,
violent. And Jake Knapp just looks so smooth to me. It looks like he's hitting warm up wedges when he's hitting 190 ball speed with the driver.
It's crazy.
I don't know. I maybe have to. You could sell me on the take, but right now I'm not buying it.
I'll compile some evidence. I'll put together a nice I'll put together a PowerPoint for you. Yeah, it'll be great. I got a whole thing going. So and on the back end of your conversation with Dylan DeChair, we're going to talk a little bit about where we're at in the Swing 5 as we kind of lead into the AT&T Pro-Am and all that. Before we get to that, though, I do another big thing happened last week, which was you at the PGA Show ripping drivers at TopGolf in front of Tom Watson. Just do tell, Smylie, what all was going on there?
Yeah, no, got to go to my first PGA show, and really it was, golf is, I think it's in a great place. I think the professional world, just the way the golf landscape is right now for the professional tours is a bit broken, but you wouldn't know that being at the PGA show. It's my first time, so maybe I could be way off on this, but it just seemed like a booming type of place, meaning just the industry just seems like it's rocking and rolling. And that was just kind of my feedback of just kind of what I saw with how many different people were there and just all the grinders out there with the small booths that are trying to make it, but also the big booths that were pretty impressive as well. But yes, got to go to TopGolf with Polo RLX and had a blasted some shots in front of Watson, kind of found something in the golf swing in my 40 shots that I hit that I've taken to the course. And
I gotta stop. Like, I love so much that you found something using the stock clubs at a TopGolf. Like, I don't know how.
I'm always finding something, man. And I actually found out the driver I was using, like the blue shaft, is for ladies, so it was kicking right. Maybe I need to get a nice ladies shaft in my driver.
Maybe that's an upcoming video. Is we just take you out with a set of ladies TopGolf clubs and see what you can shoot. It's like like playing with persimmons, but maybe even more difficult.
And then Reggie Bush as well. Got to hang out with him a little bit with Srixon. Nice. We did some long drive type stuff, and turns out muscle mass does have an effect on how far a golf ball can go. Found that with Reggie just hitting like on these limited flight golf balls, hitting mid 170 ball speed. It's like, that's just kind of stupid for the type of ball you're hitting. So yeah, overall great week. Trying to think anything else. I think the one thing that surprised me at the PGA show was the apparel. Just like there were so many different apparel companies, and that to me, I guess it didn't surprise me, but I think that was, if you'd have probably gone 10 years back, that would have been, a tenth of what it was, what I saw at the PGA show. Just so many different brands. Like, oh wow, I have not even heard of this brand, and it's got a huge booth. So that must be a fairly competitive space, and everybody, all the club pros and stuff that I talked to were making their rounds to all the different ones.
On the apparel subject, like, I was a slightly surprised that TaylorMade, if they are indeed going to get into the golf apparel space, that this wasn't a place where they soft launched some of that, unless you saw stuff there that, I feel like I would have seen that on social media if they did.
I kept my head down. I walked from point A to point B. Dude, I'm in like my whole polo outfit. It looks like I'm about to head to the first tee. I love it. It was a very long walk from Srixon to Polo. So I would keep my head down and just go. I would get on the phone just to,
that's good.
I was just trying to make it, because I would.
Glad to hear you're participating, networking, things like that. Just tunnel vision. Get the blinders on him. Get him.
Listen, I don't mind talking to people. It's just, that's like the place. If you're ever going to be recognized, it's going to be there, right?
Yeah, it's going to be there.
Talk to some great people though.
It is funny. I can't, like, I had so many people this last week like, hey, are you going to the PGA show? And I was like, no, I'm going to AT&T the following week, looking forward to that. And they were almost like disappointed for me. I'm like, guys, I'm going to Pebble Beach. And it's like, yeah, but the PGA show. And I think it speaks to what you're talking about, where it's really become a huge thing in these last few years. And again, to your point, where we get so in this pro golf bubble sometimes, we like fail to realize that the whole grassroots movement in golf that's been happening, from COVID on, is really kind of thriving in a lot of ways. So that's super cool to see. Maybe that's on the docket next year. Maybe I can get down to the PGA Show and check it out. But
it's over. I was overstimulated after like one day.
Yeah.
And I just did one day down there, but another day I would have been like, oh man.
Yeah.
It was just a lot, it was a lot to take in. Definitely talked to a lot of fun people, but outside the apparel, I'll mention this one other thing that I noticed was just how many different simulator things I saw.
Yeah.
That was like one other market where I'm like, holy crap. I couldn't believe the amount of simulators and launch monitors and stuff that I saw.
What surprised you the most? Because I saw like video of people who were going to booths where they had putting greens you could adjust with like, Tiger Woods 04, break lines on the green, stuff like that. Like, what was the thing that you saw where you were like, I can't believe this is a thing that exists now, and like I either want to get one of those or I want to like use it at some point to see how it works?
Listen, like I said, I didn't really do a ton of looking, like looking for anything particular. I just kind of noticed stuff. I kind of kept going. I didn't really stop in any booths. I just kind of was walking to and fro. So I'm not the right person to ask, but okay. I mean, that sounds sweet.
Yeah. All right. Well, maybe next year, boots on the ground. I'll get down there and kind of peruse around, see what we can figure out. But
it's a grind, brother. It's a grind.
I should give a shout out, and I believe she connected with you at the show as well, to Jan Craig Head Covers, because working on a little something there that may pop up in some videos in the future. So we're very appreciative to her. And they make some nice little cool knit head cover deals with the palms on top. So stay tuned to that department. Might have some fun stuff there for listeners and viewers of the show. So a little shout out to her. Fun breaking-ish news things to discuss, and the place I got to start is, dude, this is huge news. You're a kayak guy. You're a hashtag kayak guy. After your cameo, I think you're a kayak guy. I hate to break it to you. You might be the kayak guy. You had an extended cameo at the Sony Open. While out there. And ever since then, we've been campaigning on this podcast of where else can I get in a kayak to cover live golf. And, apparently there's been a little behind the scenes lobbying with the good people at the Players Championship and seeing if we can get you in a kayak at Sawgrass. And this is from their Twitter account. Wednesday, caddy competition, bring your sunscreen, Smylie Kaufman. Looks like you could be in a kayak at the 17th hole at Sawgrass. How are we feeling about that, Smylie?
Well, I've been trying to plant the seed for a while with Players Social. So whoever runs their account, whether it's an intern or somebody that is high up, I've been trying to just plant the seed, kind of work the phone lines and see if I can make my way into the pond at 17. It's kind of more of a bit, but them actually saying, hey, no, Wednesday caddy competition, let's do it. So now I've really got my thinking cap on, thinking, all right, first off, I have I ever seen an alligator in this pond? That was the first thing that came into my mind, is because I pretty, I fall out of these things, and from what I expect to happen if I happen to get in a kayak, I would expect players to hit golf balls at me. So things that I've already written down of, hey, I'm bringing this in the kayak with me. Number one, I'm bringing a helmet. Okay. I'm bringing a helmet and maybe get some cool stickers on there. Probably throw an NBC sticker on.
Maybe a
I love
show
mom,
sticker?
something like any cool
Anything.
sticker.
Yeah.
Gonna bring a sticker. Also thought, what do people love? Like, what gets people fired up more than family, more than sports, more than anything? Catching a free T-shirt. I'm going to bring a T-shirt cannon in there, and we're going to shoot some T-shirts out in the crowd on 17. Haven't been approved yet. Probably got to talk to the players' lawyers on this, but that is the second thing I want to bring. The third thing that I want to bring, I'm going to bring a baseball mitt, because if these players are hitting golf balls at me, I need to make sure I can catch one, because what a great way to be a part of the action, catch a baseball. But also the only thing that worries me there is trying to adjust on the fly. Next thing you know, I'm in the bottom of the lake.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I'm going to bring is I'm going to bring a white flag as a sign of surrender to stop hitting golf balls at me, because I know it's going to happen. So we're taking any more ideas of what else can fit in the canoe. Some people might say a cooler. I say, why not? But I am working that week. So maybe that wouldn't be the best of ideas, but hypothetically speaking, a cooler sounds pretty nice in there.
Yeah, I mean, I hope you have a large kayak by the sound of it, because you're bringing a lot of things. But
by the way, I hope they have a kayak, because I don't know where else to find one. How do you get a kayak to the Players Championship on 17? I don't know.
This is not a BYOK situation, apparently.
I have no idea.
That's a really good. I think you're thinking in the right direction, because when you're learning to play the game of golf, it's like, here's a club, here's how you swing. Let's go to the range. All right, where's the range picker? Because I want to hit balls to the range picker. It's like the first primal instinct that you have in the game of golf. So putting you in a kayak, in the water there at 17 at Sawgrass, their very first urge is going to be, can I hit Smylie in this kayak? So I love baseball glove, love t-shirt cannon. I think maybe we put like a visor on that helmet, or maybe even like a GoPro, like a helmet cam type situation. That could be great. I'm trying to think what else. Probably need to pack sunscreen. I like the cooler idea. But yeah, listen, if you're listening or watching now, if you're on YouTube, drop us a comment or reply on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, wherever. Let us know what Smylie should be bringing to the players for the kayak bit. And also, if you're in the area, give us a good kayak rental place. That would be helpful. As soon as you texted this to me, I said kayak at the API, and
no, dude, they're gators there. Like I've seen them. There's gators at Players too. But I don't think I've ever seen one on 17. I really don't think I ever have. But who's to say they're not in there? I don't know.
I'm just saying, you could get a lot of views on a YouTube video of you getting eaten alive by gators. Just think about it for the content. Just consider.
I just think about the dude on my Everglades TikTok, which my For You page leads me to.
Okay.
The dude who goes in the Everglades in the middle of the night and looks for all different kinds of wildlife, and he sees gators and stuff, and he like boops them in the nose. So I feel like if he can do that in the Everglades, and I have 10,000 people there to help me, like in a safe environment, I feel like I should be fine. If the Everglades guy can do it.
There should be like a second kayak, like a bodyguard / kayak caddy, where he's making sure you're not getting snuck up on by gators, but he's also handing you supplies that you need. Here's your baseball glove. Okay, you're done with that. Hand it back to me. You need there needs to be a second kayak in the mix. I think.
Like a eject button that I can press. Just so.
Yeah. Oh, that's another. Like you could put one of those jet packs on that people use over the water. That'd be another great way to broadcast.
That's where this tweet ended up. Is I wanted to do the, just anything on the water was outside of a kayak was what I've been pitching the players on. So
this is a great corner you painted yourself into. That you're
anything
this
plays.
Well, stay tuned in that department. I'm very much looking forward to seeing how that plays out. But yeah, so we're on to Pebble Week, of course, and you were tweeting about, hey, does anyone have info on the Swing 5? And I was poking around, and I got to tell you,
couldn't find it. Like I was hoping it would be like a rolling FedEx Cup, like we have, like you can see the live standings on the FedEx Cup PGA Tour app. And so I was thinking there would be a Swing 5 tab for that, so I can click it to be able to monitor how many points this or that you needed. And then got that text from or tweet from Kyle Porter said you could follow it on ShotLink, which I don't even know how. Like, is that like a website that you can just go to, like ShotLink PGA Tour? I've never done that.
I think you have to have a login to get the full version of that, like the souped up, all the kind of the behind the scenes stats, which I'm sure you could get one.
No, I think I have one. It's just like it shouldn't be that hard to follow, right? These are storylines that like we need to be telling, and it's if it's hard for us to follow as fans, like, and we don't have like an interactive thing that we can see on the TV screen, it's like the whole swing thing is kind of worthless, right? You just find out later. Like, how do you build the drama?
I 100% agree. I mean, I think that, from a lot of perspectives, we've talked about it a lot. So I feel like if you're from a sponsor perspective, if you're Aon, you're like, cool. All right, I'm getting a little bit of my bang for my buck there, but I'd sure love to have a recurring thing because people care who are getting into these fields. And I'd say also, like, I'm just learning about new categories that exist as we go. And I don't know if I missed this or this just hasn't been publicized, but we were texting and, they said in the broadcast, of course, Jaeger makes that birdie at the 72nd hole and Keith Mitchell gets into the AT&T and I'm
Jaeger
thinking,
two-putting got him in?
Yeah.
Because but how about this? How about him going lost ball on 17T, hits it in the fairway bunker, gets up and down for bogey, and then birdies 18 to get into this. Like, dude, I know he didn't win the golf tournament, but that is absolute nails.
The bunker shot on 17 was unreal. I mean, again, they're tour pros, so they hit amazing shots all the time, but I just mentally going from lost ball OB, and then it's like, I really want to hit a good one here so I can make a second ball birdie, but I hit in the fairway bunker. Like at that point, I'm mentally cooked, but for him to kind of stay in it and shoot, he doesn't know what Pavon's going to do. He had a chance to, make a long putt, make an eagle there and get into a playoff. So I thought that was, really impressive. But yeah, so there's this, because I was trying to figure out how is Keith getting into the AT&T Pro-Am, and there's a fill the field category that gets each of these signature events to 80 players apparently. So they're whatever the field makeup was with the top 50 from last year, with the next 10 from the FedEx Cup fall standings that that are going to fill out this field and the Genesis. And then the swing 5 was the one where Jaeger was outside of it, but the birdie got him into it. And because he finished 61 in the FedEx Cup fall standings, he would have been in the fill the field category, but he makes that birdie. He jumps into the swing 5. He creates another spot in this fill the field category. And so that goes to 62 through 69 from the FedEx Cup fall standings, and Keith Mitchell was 69 on that list. So he gets in addition to Alex Noren, Thomas Dietrich, Mark Hubbard, Eric Van Rooyen, Brandon Wu, Davis Riley, S.H. Kim, and Keith. They all got in through their fall standings that filled out that fill the field. So it's look, I get this thing's a work in progress. And I should probably also read the swing 5. It's Matthieu Pavon, Grayson Murray, Christian Bezaden out, Kevin Yu, and then Steven Jaeger is in that 5th position. But yeah, it's a lot to try to understand and process as we go. I get that I know that one of the complaints has been I guess this is, and I'm really rambling now, but I guess this is kind of my confusion here, and maybe this changes as we kind of go through each segment of the season. But what's being rewarded there is, we were thinking originally. So if you're looking at the swing 5 list, you have effectively 3 winners on this, right? Because you have Matthieu Pavon, Grayson Murray, and then Bezaden qualifies, effectively as a winner because Nick Dunlap was an amateur when he won the Amex, right? So you what we thought maybe coming into this year is that all 3 of those guys would have been exempt into signature events through tournament winners category. Therefore,
swing 5 is a higher category.
Exactly. No, exactly. So that's what, like, we learned that after Grayson won the Sony, right?
Yeah.
So then what's happening is they're bumping 3 guys off the rest of the swing 5 standings. So the next 3 in the swing 5 standings, 6, 7, 8 are Jake Knapp, Nate Lashley, and Justin Thomas. So
what's worth noting, and this is kind of where I think we're getting to, is that what is going to happen is like Grayson Murray, Christian Bezaden, and I'm missing somebody, will be now in that tournament winners category. So the issue that like Michael Kim tweeted out said why are these guys taking spots away? And that was the thing that wasn't explained very well, because we had this in our meetings that we're like, hold on, why would they be in the swing 5 category if they won? Because in every other year, from a categorical standpoint, the first thing you see when you sign up on PGA Tour links, the highest category always was tournament winners. So now tournament winners is below something. It doesn't make any sense to a tour player. So sorry for kind of cutting you off there, but that That's where the PGA Tour animosity is with this whole thing. And what the PGA Tour is trying to get is the swing 5 it's not just some random, like the term swing means like the swing, like the West Coast swing, but it's not going to make any sense when the only swing we have is the Phoenix swing getting ready because it's just 1 week before the Genesis. So we're going to have, I don't know if is the swing 5 a rolling list or will it be
It resets after each. Well, so for this one, it'll be interesting because
Phoenix will be a top 5. So what do we just the top 5 that aren't in a Genesis?
Phoenix, this swing 5 that currently exists. I mean, I guess we'll find out next week. But I think this swing 5 exists through the end of Phoenix to get into Genesis, and then
stay
it resets.
The same. So sorry, just tomahawked my mic.
This is swing 5 gets us animated around here.
I'm mad.
I'm pretty sure the swing 5 resets after Genesis for the next set of signature events. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
But what I'm trying to, I guess my point, the point I'm trying to figure out is like, what are we trying to reward here? And my point about 6, 7, 8 on the swing 5 list is that those guys are who are in form right now. So basically the way this thing is set up is this fill the field category. What you're telling players is the way they finished last year, like Keith Mitchell, S.H. Kim, and Davis Riley effectively got priority over Jake Knapp, Nate Lashley, and Justin Thomas, although Justin Thomas would be in anyway, so it'd be Taylor Pendrith. The way they've done it with the swing 5 category being higher than tournament winners category. Now, I think that will change as the year progresses because if it's an 80 player max, what's going to happen is with more and more tournament winners who aren't in the swing 5 any longer, they're going to start filling out the back of the field and the
wins. Right.
You
know, like if we have all stars winning throughout we've been on a run with no stars winning, but if we get on a run of stars winning, you got to think about like, all right, if we don't have anybody that wins that gets added to the field, that weren't already exempt. So if we continue to be on this run, now we're going to get to the point of, okay, nobody's going to be getting in past that certain point. Like it's just going to be these tournament winners that fill out these signature events, and it may even sneak in past 80, depending on how many guys do win versus don't win for guys that are exempt.
It's just interesting, and again, like we've tried to understand this and talk about this as best we can, and we're still learning on the fly. But so I'll look, I'll give it the full year to kind of figure out if it worked or didn't work. But it's just interesting that they're, at least for this first swing section, that was the calculus done of the tournament winner category being beneath swing 5, of saying, yeah, we're gonna take these guys and reward them for finishing past 50 and past the next 10 from last year. We're going to reward them over 3 guys who narrowly missed the swing 5 cut for this tournament, but are in good form. But sorry,
hey, that was the thing going into the year. It's like if you weren't in the top 50, you weren't guaranteed anything. I mean, the next 10 got you into those first 2 for the following year. But hey, I mean, I like the idea of if you play well, you get rewarded, and it's the whole play better category. Rory said it to Grayson at that meeting in Delaware, and guess what? Grayson Murray's played better, and he's playing in all the signature events. And to me, I like the idea of it. And John Rahm was an advocate for this as well. He didn't like the PIP. He wanted the money to go back into the tournaments. He liked the idea of playing your way into these big events. And Rory said the same thing. And listen, we've seen in these first 4 weeks, there's opportunity. And these stars they're not guaranteed anything either. We're going to know at the end of the year how it shapes all up. Typically, we see the stars end up in the top 30 at the end of the year, but still, if you play bad, you could play your way out of these signature events very quickly, because top 50 is, you don't have to be that far off to be outside the top 50, even if you are a star.
Yeah. Well, I will say I do, in some personal selfish way, like the way it's set up for this week, because it means that Kashmir Keith's in the field at Pebble. And
it just makes sense.
It just makes sense.
I'm mad that he didn't even get a spot. Like that to me is a miscite by the tournament office over at Pebble Beach. I mean, that he just has to be in that field.
It's only 4 sponsor exemptions this year, and they went to three policy board pack guys and Maverick McNeely.
I'm shocked Gary Woodland didn't get a invite. He won the U.S. Open at Pebble Beach, and all the things that he's going for. He's back playing again. How do you call Gary and say, "Hey, Gary, you know what? We had some better applicants."
Yeah.
What? What are you talking about, man?
How about like a Will Zalatoris? Like, we talked about this.
It starts and ends with Gary. Did he won the U.S. Open at Pebble? Like, but yeah, Willie Z would be like, I mean, if we would have made the list, who would have got it? It would have been Gary, Willie Z, Adam Scott, and
probably Keith. Yeah, I mean, I guess Keith's in, so it doesn't matter.
Keith would have been our fourth, but he got in. So I don't.
And that's no disrespect to Webb and Peter Malnati. And honestly, and this is kind of, I wanted to talk to you about Pebble, this event from a bigger picture, and actually connect it back to the Amex, because we have no idea what the schedule is going to look like in future years, but this event's changed since last year, right? And a lot of people would say for the better. That's going to be a stronger field. It's this 80-player limited field. It is an amateur event for Thursday, Friday, and then there's a cut, and it's just going to be the pros at Pebble on the weekend. And so as a result, you're not going to see like Bill Murray this year. You're not going to see the same set of celebs you saw in previous years that get it sort of a fun vibe. A lot of the people that are going to fill out this field on the amateur side are going to be the people that make the PGA Tour go from a business perspective, sponsors and business people that are kind of key and deal making and keeping the tour. I mean, shoot, that's a huge off the course consideration now. So it would make sense that you'd want guys who are involved in those processes like an Adam Scott or a Webb Simpson or a Peter Malnati there to connect with those business people and to have those conversations. Like, I get why that's happening. I guess what I wonder is that do we see the Amex that is golf in a dome, that does have better weather in a cold part of the cold time of the year for everywhere else? Like, does that become the fun pro-am where it's a 3-day deal for the amateurs and moving around for a couple different courses? And I mean, that was even where they had the Bing Crosby clam bake for a number of years. Like I'm wondering if the changing composure of this event has a knock-on effect for that event, so that we can have a little bit of both on tour in the future.
Well, there's no such thing as a fun pro-am. I'm going to go and get that out there. No pro enjoys playing in the pro-am, which is why the Pebble field always sucked. It was 3 days. Yeah. It was 6-hour rounds, great golf courses, but the weather was hit or miss, and it looks like the weather's going to be a miss next week. But I mean, going back to the Amex, I mean, that you never really had any stars playing that. It was a very much a corporate pro-am. So you're just kind of playing with just randos for the most part. Hardly any celebrities ever play. So yeah, I mean, it being a significant, or whatever you call it, event, $25 million. So yeah, I mean, it's that changed. The vibe's going to be totally different at Pebble Beach this week versus what we've seen in the past, which is a very fun pro-am outside of potentially the golf. I mean, you got some good partners you could be playing with, but the hospitality tent for where dining and everything always was very fun, because you'd have, musicians go up there and play throughout kind of the day. That was kind of their deal. They had to entertain a little bit to play. And so you'd have Jake go up there, Eric Church, those type of guys. And then you'd be sitting down having breakfast or lunch with Peyton Manning or Eli Manning. So that's the part of it that I'm sure a lot of the players and will miss, just that component of what made that event so fun. But yeah, no, I think from a fan standpoint who don't get to experience that type of camaraderie with, all these musicians and artists and celebrities, from a fan perspective, watching Pebble Beach with the best players in the world, it's going to have a big major feel to it. Playing twosomes at typically they've always played threesomes at the Pebble Beach event, and now being twosomes, the flow should be better, should have a feeling like it's a major championship. So I think that to me is going to be I think it's going to be very fun to watch. We'll see if it's going to be as entertaining as the last 4 weeks where we didn't have any stars win. And maybe we don't have a star win this week. So we'll see. I'm excited to watch though.
Yeah, as am I. And we will be out at Pebble Beach this week, although, as you noted earlier, weather is looking interesting. So I guess definitely excited about the stuff that we're planning on shooting. But I just maybe I'll say it this way. Silver lining to the clouds that inevitably will be over our heads while we're playing golf is that I'm hoping that provides some level of entertainment. What's the famous Tom Watson quote? The bad weather eliminates 50% of the field. So we're going to be in the 50% that we're not going to let the weather eliminate us. That's the mindset I'm bringing into this week.
At least one of us has to hang in there.
Yeah. Let's hope we don't eliminate both of us. So, we'll
honestly,
see.
It looks better for when we're there, or at least when I'm there. I mean, when you're Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is 80% chance, 93% chance, 77% chance. And dude, it's going to be cold on the weekend, like high of 53, low of 43. I know the cold hardos are like, that's not that cold. It's like, anytime you're out there in the heavy air and it's cold. Yeah, that's cold.
It's that's hand warmer weather. That is beanie weather.
Saturday's a little bit of sun on Saturday. You see that?
I see it. I see it peeking through. It's trying. It's trying. But
that'd be great.
It's a Monterey Peninsula. Anything can change any moment in either direction. So
if not, just wait 10 minutes.
And also, by the way, I mean that's what the pros are playing into. So we're doing it for the integrity of the bit. But yeah, we got some fun stuff. We got some fun stuff lined up. Maybe playing a little golf. We got maybe a fun little game where we might see Keystone Smylie make an appearance. So we're looking forward to that. And then doing some live coverage of the tournament while we're there. So I don't know, Smylie, any thoughts on the week? What you're looking forward to the most?
Just love that area. Francie's going to come out with me on the weekend. It's her birthday Saturday. So everybody wish her a happy birthday. Don't be rude.
Should I get her a gift?
Well, she's not going to listen to this pod, so we can talk about it.
I think we should. What do you get your podcast co-host's wife for her birthday?
Chocolate and wine always plays.
What type of wine does she like?
Yeah. All plays.
Okay, all right. We'll workshop this. I just figured, we're recording a podcast in front of all of our viewers and listeners.
Listen, we workshopped right into like our schedule last week, so we need to just have like these open, like our calendar, what's coming up, and just keeping everybody posted,
keeping everybody in the loop.
Yeah, let's keep everybody in the loop. We got Bud Colley coming on the podcast on Phoenix Week. We're gonna have some combination, whether it's going to be James Siekman, my short game coach, who's a top 5 coach in the game, according to golf.com, which I think he's definitely that. Very insightful stuff from him I'm excited about. And then my boy Colby Tullier, who trains all the dudes out on the PGA Tour, pretty much has just about everybody. And him and I used to go way back when he lived in Baton Rouge. So it's going to be a fun journey plotting his fitness path and where he is today. But also I think for those that are trying to get their bodies in shape for the spring and summer, he's going to be able to give us a lot of great stuff too. So I'm really excited about our next 3 guests coming up, in no particular order, but really excited about getting to Monterey too. It's going to be fun to see Charlie out there. For those that think that Charlie and I have been friends for our entire life. Nope. I've seen him in person like twice. So we've, so it'll be fun to actually get some FaceTime with Charlie, get to actually meet Fran. You've never met Fran, have you?
Never met Fran. We've just held our babies up over Zoom. And just,
I know. So I think it'll be fun just to kind of hang and chill, play some golf, see where Charlie's game at, see where SK's game at, which could be really good, could be really bad. Who knows? Who knows what we're going to get?
I don't know. I don't want to put it too far out there in the world, but post-surgery, feeling good. Like with some good, we're putting some good tape out there. Played in the rain last week to prep myself for the coast. A lot of good tape out there. And also on the Colby note, I was in the Charlotte airport last night, and right next to my gate was the Auntie Anne's, and I was just smelling the pretzels, and I was like, I want a pretzel so bad, but turned over a new leaf. We're gonna diet better, and we're gonna work out better. in 2024. And Colby is going to talk to us about how to do that. So I'm really excited for that one. But yeah, lots of exciting stuff coming up, beginning with our little voyage to Pebble Beach. So everyone stay tuned for that. And yeah, we appreciate you watching and listening. We'll talk to you back here soon.
I've actually watched a couple of episodes of y'all earlier, and you guys have some good takes. So thanks for what you guys do.
It's cool to see what you guys are doing, and I know golf fans appreciate it, but we do too. So please keep it up.
I think you're doing a tremendous job, and I listen to this podcast. It's really cool, and